So attention going up, because we have the champion on the main straight about to start his first qualifying lap of the season. Turn 1 and 2 in succession. Already feels confident enough to use soft tires, so he probably already wants to secure a lap good enough for pole. Let's ride on board with Matt. First sector completed. Orbekin retires from the session. Probably a mistake somewhere, because he caused a yellow flag in sector 1. But let's stay focused on Matt, because he already is in the final sector of the track. So in a few seconds we will get to see his first lap time. Final corners. Also, and a few meters behind we have Alpomut-K and Jayor. So after we see Matt's lap time, we will also get to see Jayor's and Alpomut-K's lap times. Matt sets 1:19.4, Alpomut-K on the main straight, and Alpomut-K is 0.5 of Matt, who drove a brilliant lap. Jayor betters Alpomut-K's lap time and sits in second place. Alpomut-K is on the main straight again, but it looks like rain has come. Of course it's not wet enough for winters, but wet nonetheless. Alpomut-K has to control on the car on the main straight. Lap times are going up because Alpomut-K failed to improve his first lap time. Looks like he will be stuck in fourth place. He's trying because there is time left, but the track should be affected already by now. Like I said, it shouldn't be wet enough for winters, but even little rain can make it impossible to improve a lap time that you set on a perfectly dry surface. So it looks like Alpomut-K has aborted his lap. We'll see if he decides to drive back to the pits. Liverpool, I saw Liverpool left the garage too. Liverpool in 6th place. So most drivers have retired from the session because the track is now completely wet, and indeed Liverpool decided to switch to winter tires. Of course it's basically completely useless to drive in these conditions, so Liverpool probably just wants to is just doing it for the fun of it, or practicing in case of a wet race. Alpomut-K decides to retire from the session too. It's basically impossible to improve in these conditions. So Matt is already on pole. Liverpool spins, loses control of his car and hits the barrier, but can continue because he only broke his front wing. So the session is over. The rain basically made it impossible to improve the lap times, and Matt got pole on the very first attempt. Race day at Australia. Waiting for everyone to complete the loading as usual. Formation lap in a matter of few seconds. Five seconds left and we will see the formation lap. So we're finally on track. So the formation lap starts with Matt leading the group. Matt basically continuing from where he left last season. Jayor in second place looked like he had a decent pace, so he should be able to put up a challenge. Jimmy James in third place, Alpamut K. Then we have King David in fourth place with the Alfa Romeo. Liverpool, then Ian Big H, Hughes moves, Brycey, Spike driving for Red Bull. Overking in 11th place. Orbekin starting outside of the top 10, valid for points, as he made a mistake in qualifying. But Matt is now completing the formation lap. A few seconds left till the start. The drivers are on the main straight. Matt takes the first spot on the grid. So everything should be ready in a few seconds. Matt, Jayor and Alpamut K in fourth place. So the lights are beginning to come on. Lights out and away we go. Do we get a better camera? Yes, we do. Jayor fighting wheel to wheel with Matt, but Jayor ghosted. Jayor is a ghost, so Matt keeps first place, has to defend from King David, going around the outside, slightly hits Matt in the back, but no one gets damage. Let's see if Jayor is still in the session, because he ghosted at the start. Safety car deployed. Ian Big H and Liverpool retired from the session. So there probably was a crash that we didn't see, because of course we were watching the top guys. So Ian Big H now left the session. Safety car deployed. Maybe we will have the first drivers in the pits. Matt controlling the pace because he's leading the group. King David and Hughes moves in second and third place. Of course, Matt shouldn't find it too difficult to pull away from them, but the restart will be crucial. Looks like Matt got a solid restart, but King David also wasn't surprised by Matt because he managed to stay pretty close, trying to use the toe, but Matt gained a solid advantage at the restart, and now will probably pull away from King David. Fourth lap of the race. So Matt, King David, Hughes moves Brycey, Spike up in fifth place. Jayor, who qualified second, down in sixth, but he already pitted. Alpamut K in seventh. So Matt driving a really good lap. He already has gained 8 tenths. A yellow flag in sector 2, but I don't think anyone retired because the graphics don't say. No, there is a crash. There is a crash in sector 1. Nadav retired because there was a car stuck on the track, on the map. So King David over almost 2 tenths away from Matt already. Jayor going around the outside against Spike at turn 3. Completes a good overtake. Now Alpamut K all over the back of Spike, trying to defend. No, Spike doesn't even try to defend. Alpamut K completely cuts the corner. We'll see if he gives his position back. He got a penalty for that, but he still, I think, that situation still benefits him because he might have lost more seconds than the penalty had he stayed behind Spike for another lap. So Matt is completely creating an empty space between him and King David. Already more than 3 seconds between them. Orb King now up in sixth place, in seventh place. Alpamut K has issues. What's wrong with his car? He has front wing damage. Alpamut K has a front wing damage, so he will now have to pit again. Everyone really close to each other. Alpamut K's race is now compromised because he has to pit and will lose a lot of seconds. A really compact group. Everyone really close to each other except for the drivers on the podium positions. Matt basically leading the race comfortably on 7th lap. In the meanwhile, Scaife gets a penalty too for multiple warnings, which is, as usual, a 3-second time penalty. Jayor on medium tires is leading the race, but of course he has yet to pit again, because he pitted on lap 1. He won't be able to finish the race on these tires, and even if he was, he still wouldn't have the pace to defend from Matt on fresh tires now, and 10 seconds off Jayor. Probably Jayor hoping for a safety car or a virtual safety car, because that might give him the opportunity to pit without losing too much time. And that's probably what Jayor was waiting for, because there was a crash and a safety car deployed, virtual safety car deployed. So let's see where he rejoins. Matt is already on the main straight, so he will take the lead, but going at reduced speed. So Jayor rejoined the track now. Virtual safety car removed, but Matt is not that far away. But now Jayor has fresh and soft tires, so he probably will have more speed than Matt. So it might we might get to see a fight between before the end of the race. Let's see Jayor's lap times. Let's see if he is faster than Matt. He already is gaining a few tenths here and there. The gap is going down and down, and there is 10 laps left still. But Jayor gets a time penalty, 3-second time penalty. Jayor is now really close to Matt, but let's focus on Orbekin for a second, because Orbekin might take the podium if he overtakes King David. He looks quicker than King David. Let's see if he manages to overtake him. King David trying to defend. Orbekin for a second thought had the idea to dive on the inside, but decides that it's better to wait for the DRS zone, which he does. Now King David tries to defend on the inside, but Orbekin has much more speed on soft tires and brings the overtake home. King David tries to fight back, but Orbekin resists, and now Orbekin will have the chance to pull away. Let's now watch Jayor against Matt, because Jayor is really close. However, there isn't many laps left, and plus on top of that, Jayor has a time penalty, so Matt can still win the race. He's still the favorite. Only 1 second separates them. Jayor needs to overtake Matt and then pull a gap to compensate for the penalty. It will be difficult, but if Matt makes a slight mistake, then this can hand the victory to Jayor. Jayor really close now, but overtaking is a whole different story, and Australia is also one of the toughest tracks to overtake on. I also don't know if Matt has a penalty, to be sure, so let's see what happens. Jayor really close to Matt, but it's basically impossible to overtake here. 3 laps left, or actually 2 laps and a few corners. Now they will start the 27th lap. Jayor really close. Will he have the speed to dive on the inside? No, Matt still keeps first place. Jayor really close now. There is another DRS zone. There is another DRS zone, but Matt had the advantage to defend from Jayor. Jayor getting closer. He needs to be a little closer than he was before on the main straight. Makes a slight mistake here, loses a few tenths. Let's see if he gets closer again before the DRS zone. 2 laps left. 2 laps left. Opens DRS, but he doesn't look closer than he was before, so Matt should be able to defend. Turn 1 and 2, Matt still in the lead. But Jayor looks really close now, looks really close. He should be able to overtake Matt. He goes around the outside, but no, Matt kept the car on the inside and forced Jayor to slow down. Alpumut-K gets a penalty in the meanwhile. Not a solid weekend from Alpumut-K, made a lot of mistakes. Was off pace in qualifying compared to Matt, of course. So 2 laps left, and Matt is still resisting from Jayor. Matt had a bad exit out of that corner. Jayor goes around the outside, and I think they go wheel to wheel into the corner, but give each other enough room, and Jayor completes the overtake. Yes, Jayor completes the overtake. Matt tried to fight back, but Jayor has tire advantage and now takes the lead. Only 1 lap left. Is Matt close enough to fight back? Gets really close to Jayor's back of the car, but Jayor now has the opportunity to have more traction out of the corners, and indeed he manages to pull away. So Jayor in the lead now, even though he has a penalty, so the result is not sure yet. It also depends whether Matt has a penalty too. So only 1 second between them now. Jayor approaching the final corners. Jayor on the final corner, main straight now, and Jayor takes the win. No, he doesn't. Matt didn't have a penalty, so Jayor won the race on track, but because of that penalty, Matt takes the win. Lapped cars fighting each other, but ghosted at the moment of the lapping, so Orbekin takes the podium, waiting now for everyone else to finish. Congratulations to Jayor, he drove a really solid lap, but made a mistake that cost him a penalty, so Matt took the win anyway. Jimmy James with his Renault now in 6th place. Gox 7th place. Then we will have Hughes moves and the two Ferrari, and then Spike completed the top 10. So we nearly witnessed a surprising result. Jayor really got close to the win, but at the moment that Matt cut the final line without a penalty, he was able to take the win. So final results here: Matt, Jayor, Orbekin, King David, Alpumut K, Gox, Jimmy James, Hughes moves, then the other Ferrari. Spike completes the top 10. There isn't much to say. This is the current standings because it's the first race. So Matt is now the championship leader at the first race, Jayor in second place in the championship standings, and Orbekin third. So thanks for watching and see you at the next race.